Good morning, students. Students, I welcome you to English class. Here I have a poem for you. The name of the poem is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Students, Pablo Neruda was born in 1904 and his Pablo Neruda is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Reyes Bocelto, who was born in the town of Parel in Chile. Neruda's poems are full of easily understood images, which make them no less beautiful. And students, he won the Nobel Prize also for literature in the year 1971. In this poem, Neruda talks about the necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. Students, this poem, Keeping Quiet, may have been composed in view of lockdown period because there are many things which are common between a lockdown period and this poem, Keeping Quiet. So let us see what is there in this poem. Student, this poem is divided into five stanza and there is no rhyme or meter. You will notice that the lengths of the lines differ in different stanzas. And moreover, there is a shift in thought as we move from one stanza to another stanza. So the first stanza is, students, now we will count to 12 and all we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's not let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. So this is first stanza. Here the poet is requesting everyone to count till 12 in their own mind and to stop for a while. A student, here maybe this number 12 referred by the poet is the 12 hours in the clock or 12 months in an year or 12 zodiac signs. So he wants everyone to stop and calm down. The poet urges everyone not to speak any language. And as we all know, that there are different languages spoken in different parts of the earth, which sometimes become a barrier in our way for peace also. So he asks people not to speak. And student, not only this, he also wants us to stop moving our arms also. Here, by using the word arms, he means the weapons which are used by different countries to raise a war against each other. So, basically, the poet is demanding peace from all of us. Second stanza is, students, that it would be an exotic movement without rush, without engine. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So here poet says that it would be a rare situation when there will be no engines working, like in our lockdown period here. Here he wants to stay that everything comes to stand still, and it will be a very different moment. If all the engines like the vehicles and the machines stop, then there will be a sudden strange situation as the world will experience a sudden calmness like these days we are experiencing. People will not be in a rush to achieve material things one after another. Further, the poet says that the fishermen will also stop and not harm whales in the sea. This means that the poet is urging everyone not to harm the animals also, aquatic animals, other animals. Here he gives the example of whales, which are being hunted for the purpose of food and trade. So he also wants people to calm down so that they can stop and see what they have achieved For this, he gives the example of the man who gathers salt, whose hands are hurt. So here he wants that even the fisherman should stop for a while in order to see and feel their achievement, their achievement, and how much they have lost for the sake of attaining such materialistic things. Moving forward to the third stanza, students, those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivor, right? And would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in shade, doing nothing. And he, poet, is saying, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. He's saying so. So here, the people who exploit the green wealth of nature by deforestation or mining or fishing in the deep seas, and the soldiers who use weapons to kill fellow human beings need some time to introspect into the consequences of their actions. They are merely doing their job or following orders. He wants them to put on new clothes, means to adopt a new approach towards life and to realize that killing so many people is not a victory. So, poet wants all of us to be united as one. Consider our enemy to be our brother. He is promoting brotherhood, peace, and unity. Student, he does not want us to stop our work, but to take some time and analyze the result of our deeds. The fourth stanza is that if we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. This is the fourth stanza. Here, the poet wants to clarify to his readers that when he asks them to stop from saying or doing anything, he does not want anyone to become a non active person. Non active is a person who remains idle and does not do anything. Here, he simply means that we should stop and see the consequences of our deeds. The poet does not want to see people being killed due to the greed for money and expansion of territories. Right? Further, is saying that people are continuously working to achieve their task without even thinking about their result. They are in the fear of death, therefore, want to achieve most of the things before their death. So, here he urges them to stop for a while and take some movement to introspect themselves only. Right here, he's everyone here is living a life in which he wants to achieve various things, one after another. But now the poet says that it is the time to stop and see what has been achieved and should be enjoyed. So this will help us skip the sadness which has become so prominent in our lives. The sadness of not enjoying what we have achieved, and the greed to achieve what next is in the list to be achieved. And in the last stanza, fifth stanza, student, the poet is saying, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Poet is saying. Let us see what has poet said in this stanza. So poet is saying now the poet is suggesting to the human being that we should learn a lesson from earth. During the winters everything freezes and becomes lifeless. But when season changes, and it is the onset of spring season, what happens? Everything present in the nature, such as trees, birds, rivers, etc., gets life. So here the poet, by giving the example of nature, wants to say that all the human beings should stop and try to judge their deeds. They can try and make their life better with calmness and peace. Finally, he ends up by saying that now he will count up to 12 so that we all may become quiet. Here, quiet means to calm down ourselves and move towards the path of peace and harmony. So, student, after saying this, he says, I will go. He says, so as he has conveyed his message to the people and wants them to be left alone to think about it and work in the direction of peace. Thank you, students.